Okay, here we are in session number 3 of the crash course, and now we're going to deal with the 4 generations of Abraham's family. This is the era of the Patriarchs and the Matriarchs, the founding fathers and mothers of the Jewish people. Let's get the organization straight, and then we'll build our understanding upon it. So it works like this. Parshas 3, 4, 5 deal with the life of Abraham and Sarah. They're the founding father and mother of the Jewish people. Everything begins with them. Parsha 6 is a look at the life of their son Isaac, who marries Rebekah. Then Parsha 7 and 8 deal with their son Jacob, who marries 2 sisters, Rachel and Leah. Rachel is the younger sister, Leah is the older sister. We'll talk about that shortly. People often confuse Rachel and Rebekah, like who came first. So I always think of, A before E, except in this case, it's R-E and then R-A. So maybe that'll help. But in terms of who these people are, it's important to realize they're more than just great individuals who started off the Jewish people. Jewish tradition really sees them more like the spiritual DNA of who we are, meaning their lives, their world perspectives, their achievements, their character, and their life purpose has been, so to speak, embedded into the Jewish soul. So much so that what happens throughout Jewish history is patterned after their lives. We actually say their lives are a marker of what's going to be in the future. So as you go through the Torah, you'll see so many things happen to them that are happening to us and happened to previous generations. So that's the first thing to understand. In terms of the organization of the spiritual DNA, there are 3 traits that they're responsible for, that they created. It was built one generation after the next. And I want to point out what those 3 traits are, because you'll also see in Jewish tradition so much of our holidays and things happening that's built around these 3 traits. Abraham and Sarah are responsible for kindness. Kindness. It's important, to see them. Their tent was open on all 4 sides. They welcomed everybody. They want to have an impact on the entire world. So kindness is their first trait. Isaac's life, or Rebekah, is founded more on the idea of justice. He represents justice. He was exposed to the existential justice when his father was going to sacrifice him on an altar at God's command, which is the binding of Isaac, which we'll point out shortly. And then Jacob, along with Rachel and Leah, but he's really responsible for the idea of truth. He was a man of the tents. He was a scholarly man, and truth was his primary pursuit. So kindness, justice, and truth are the 3 pillars of which the Jewish people's mindset, our soul, our character is really involved with, and those are the things which really round out our persona and what we're trying to express in this world. So that's the first thing. Kindness, justice, and truth are the 3 main traits. Now I want to point out one other thing. In many traditions it starts with the idea of a person being a prophet, communicating with God, and that person having such influence, it influences everybody around him and then maybe future generations. But that's not so with the Jewish people. This whole family, everybody here, were prophets and prophetesses. Abraham and Sarah both had prophecy. In fact, Jewish tradition teaches that Sarah's prophecy was on a higher level than Abraham's. So the Jewish people are founded by this family who had this intense relationship with God. Once this family is complete and they've established these 3 pillars, then we have Parshas 9, 10, 11, 12, which are going to deal with Joseph and his brothers, who are the sons of Jacob, Rachel, and Leah, and we'll go through that in the next video. But for now, you should realize that these brothers, Joseph and his brothers, they're going to take what's been achieved here and start to build it into a larger family of 70 individuals, which are going to be the core of the Jewish nation.